Well, let me just say it's awfully nice to be here in Shipshewana, Indiana. Lovely little Amish area. I didn't even know it was Amish till I hit the horse. And but I'm amazed that I get here and somebody else seems to have taken all the attention here. It's supposed to be the Ken Davis, Bob Stromberg evening right here in the theater. Yeah, right. I'm looking at 4 pictures there. All 4 of them look like Ken doing Ken Davis's side-splitting humor. So anyway, I am just thrilled to be to just ride his wave.
Hey, Bob.
A little bit. Yeah, Ken. Hey, you bet.
Ken Davis and Bob Stromberg.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. That was wonderful. We are so glad to be here in Mishawaka at the Red Gate. This is an absolute...
No, Shipshewana.
What did I say?
Mishawaka.
Is there a Mishawaka?
There is a Mishawaka, but we aren't there. Shipshewana. Shipshewana.
Okay, Shipshewana. I'm so glad to be here at Shipshewana.
At the Blue Gate.
The Blue
Shipshewana at the Blue Gate. That's what you
I think we should do this over.
Okay, I think so too.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Bob Stromberg and Ken Davis.
Thank you.
Thank you for that spontaneous response. That was wonderful. We're so glad to be here at Shipshewana at the Blue Gate. This is marvelous. What a wonderful place to do a
In
show.
Amish country. We're in Amish.
I love it here, Amish country. This is a place where the price of gas doesn't mean a whole lot. I thought of that back there.
Just out of interest, because I have no idea, what do you have to pay pump for a gallon of hay?
When did you think of that?
I was back there.
We got behind one of those horses. Aren't these wonderful? It's a wonderful place. We come here all the time.
We took a buggy ride.
Took a buggy ride,
Yeah.
had a great time. I was wondering if any of those horses are turbocharged. How would you turbocharge a horse? Feed them a bunch of clover and a bran muffin.
No, to do that, I think you feed them a bucket of hard-boiled eggs and a bale of Slim Jims. That would do the job, I think.
Hey, we didn't talk about this. Who's going to go first? Who should go first? We got, show.
Traditionally, the way it works in comedy, the least well-known, the least experienced, the lesser funny person would go first. So, and normally that would be defined as the person who doesn't have his picture all over Shipshewana for I mean, honestly, 4 pictures of
Bob,
you there.
Give
me one. Give me one. I don't need 2. It doesn't need to be equal. Just be 1 of me, 3 of Ken. It'll be fine, Ken Davis, hilarious comedy for everybody. 4 pictures.
So, Bob, listen. So you're saying that
I would be happy to go first.
to defer to, I can't. Okay, yeah, that'll work.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Probably the most exciting thing that I can tell you about myself is that for the first time in the last couple of years, I have become a grandfather. Yeah, and I will tell you, one of the most wonderful things in my life was holding that beautiful little baby in my arms just hours after he was born. His name was Ben. Is still Ben. And one of the most difficult things in my life was taking that same beautiful little baby and putting him back to the arms of his father, my son, who I knew did not have a clue. And then my mom and dad got a chance to come out and meet their first great-grandchild. That was so fun, especially to see my dad, who's now 80, and he has become a little old man. I don't know when it happened, but he's a little, the quintessential, little, a lot like you, sir. And my dad's sitting with this little baby, one of the most beautiful things. The oldest and the youngest in my family lineage, genetically only 4 generations apart, really close, and yet so vastly different. Here's this little baby who was born to affluent, well-educated parents in a high-tech hospital. And here is my dad, now this little old man, who by all accounts, his accounts, and there's only ones left, he was born not to affluent, well-educated parents, but to dirt-poor immigrant Swedish farmers. And he was born not in a high-tech hospital, but out in the barn. And then they laid him in the manger. Because there was no room in the house. And then the shepherds came. Roy and Vera Shepherd from down the road there, I think. Hey, those of you guys out here from my dad's generation, I can see it because you're shaking your head. That's me. Yeah, I know you guys. That's an interesting generation, you guys. Tough guys. When I was a kid, there wasn't a week that went by that my dad didn't say to me, when I was your age, I used to get up at 4 in the morning and walk 12 miles to school. Uphill both ways. Through the snow. Barefoot. Thank you for giving me that line. I had no idea what I was going to say next. I was completely lost. I'm going, what do I say next? Barefoot. No. Naked. Many mornings I was naked. Long lines of naked kids going to school. All I had to keep my body warm on those cold mornings were my boots and a belt. And I used to say to my friends, because I thought this was so odd, I used to say, did your moms and dads, did they used to have to walk like a really long way home from school and to school? And they all had the same? Well, except one of my buddies said, no, my dad only used to have to go about 9. But he used to have to raft part of it. Which made me wonder, why did people back in those days, why didn't you build schools somewhere near where the kids lived? And that would have been a great idea. Imagine that school board zoning meeting. Well, listen, we appreciate the fact you're giving us this property here in the map. It's a lovely piece of land, but we cannot build our school. Can't, that's right. Well, because we already have 60 kids living right in that area, we need to move it out. 8-9 miles out. Let's take the road right over that ravine, through that swamp, right through the middle of that dark forest. We could breed wolves in there. Teach the kids about evil. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, if I said, boy, Dad, it's cold out there, he'd say, you have no idea what cold is. When I was a kid, it used to get so cold, I kept getting my mouth stuck on that old cowbell. You kept getting your mouth stuck on it, Dad? More than once? If I said, oh, man, I twisted that ankle. There's a lot of pain. He'd say, you have no idea what pain is. When I was a kid, pain really hurt. Walk it off. That was my dad's solution to any injury. Walk it off. Bloody nose. Well, walk it off. Diarrhea. Walk it off. Thanks, Dad. I think it's working. I actually had appendicitis, and my dad told me to walk it off. I mean, I cut my dad a little slack here, okay? He's not a medical doctor. He didn't know that I didn't know that I had appendicitis, but I did. And when I woke up at 3 a.m., my dad is about this far away from me saying, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I had no idea it was appendicitis. If I had known it was appendicitis, I never would have told you to walk it off. I'm so sorry. I thought it was a gallstone or a twisted bowel. I'm like, sorry. You know, I suppose it was a little more dangerous for my dad's generation than for me. Maybe a little more dangerous for me than for my kids. Maybe a little more dangerous for my children than for their children. I mean, I like to think that things are getting safer. I mean, I understand there are things like the internet and gangs and drugs and stuff that we didn't even think about back then. But I'm talking about dangers my dad had, like, you know, walking out the kitchen door and getting mauled by the oxen, stuff like that. I don't even think about those things on a daily basis now. I think it's getting safer, and this was proven to me recently when once again I tried to put my grandson in his child safety car seat. That's like a puzzle. I got him in there. I couldn't even see him. There's just buckles all over his little body. All I could think, he looks like a tiny astronaut in a little escape pod. Contrast that to car seats when I was a kid. Sing this with me, because I know you know this. It's like a worship song. Buckle up for safety, buckle up. Buckle up for safety, always buckle up. Wonderful little ditty, great little safety campaign, which would have been far more effective had they in those days sold cars with seatbelts. You didn't get buckled in. This car seat hung between the mom and the dad in the front there. Little metal railing around it, because metal is safe. Little canvas strap so the baby wouldn't fall through. And on the metal railing, do any of you remember, a hard red plastic pretend steering wheel? My baby sister loved that. Gave her a sense of control as she swung into the dash every time my dad slowed down. And my big sister and I, we'd be fighting in the back seat. Now listen, hey, I know that we have some children here. How many of you have ever fought in the back seats with a brother or sister? Of course you have. You're lying too, if you don't have your hand up. There we go. But the difference between you kids and my big sister and I, when we fought in the back seat, we were standing up. My dad would say, okay, you kids, that's it. Bobby, up in the window, time out. He would send me to the back window for a timeout. Turn around. I don't even want you looking this way. So I'd be laying up there in the back window. No solar heat coming in. I remember that. Oh, look, there's a farmer on a combine chasing us. Passing us on this swervy road, actually. And he's drinking. Just praying we wouldn't have to swerve for deer, because there were deer everywhere. North central Pennsylvania, where I grew up, there were deer I was like 10 before I realized that deer were living creatures. I just thought the highway department dragged them out there every morning to slow us down on the way to school. I hit a deer in my town, right in our little town. I hit a deer. Destroyed my bike. I wasn't even old enough to ride in the street yet. I was thunking along on the sidewalk there. This big buck comes bounding out of a bush, knocks me right off my banana seat. I want to tell you something, people. These kind of things happen to a little boy. That child's going to have Bambi nightmares the rest of his life. 50 years later, his wife's going to be saying to him, well, you were screaming again last night. All night long, screaming. Help me, Thumper, help me. I went to college in Chicago. I met a kid there. He was 19 years old, never been out of the city of Chicago in his life. I mean, can you imagine that? He was 19. He had never been out of the city limit. He was thinking about going to Skokie someday, he said. I said, hey, you know what? You should come back to Pennsylvania for Easter break. That'll be great. It's really quite different there. Come home with me. So he did. We flew into the Allegheny Mountains there. This little airport had 18 miles on this curvy road through the Alleghenies down to our little town. And it was April. There was still quite a bit of snow. And apparently the deer had been pretty active that spring, because there were quite a number of them to be seen in various grotesque tableaus along the highway. And my friend from the city actually turned toward me and said, Bob, isn't this fascinating? How the deer seem to know when it's time to die, they should come up by the edge of the road. I couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, it must be like an instinctual voice. Quick, leave the forest. Seek the highway. Bite down on your tongue. Ye shall explode. We had 2 weeks of buck hunting season in my town when I was growing up in Pennsylvania. They probably still do. And if you went down to the 2 blocks in my downtown, because that's all we had, every other car pulled up to the curb had a buck strung on the front bumper. We didn't even have bungees back then. That's how tough it was. It had to be tied down with twine, just hanging there. And I remember I went down with my mom one night, and she had to go in the drugstore, and I was like 5, and it wasn't very cold out. There was a nice little snow coming down through the street lights there, but no wind. And she said, do you want to come in with me, or do you want to sit out here on the steps? And so I said, well, I just soon sit out here. So I sat down on the steps. I no more sat down than I noticed that right across the sidewalk here, about 8-9 feet away, there's this buck strung on the bumper. And I was a sensitive boy. I just sensed he did not climb up there voluntarily. I think it was the facial expression that gave it away. And as I'm looking at this deer, I could have sworn that I saw his head twitch a little bit. Boy, that got my attention. So I stood up, walked over a little bit closer. I got like maybe 3 feet away. I looked up over the hood of the car. I could see the hunter. He was sound asleep behind the wheel, probably been hunting since dawn. He was like this. So I moved in a little bit closer. I got about 1.5 feet away. I should tell you at this point in the story that the hunter wasn't sound asleep. The hunter was wide awake. His right hand was resting on the horn. His left hand was wrapped around a piece of fishing line that went out the window, over the mirror, across the hood, and was attached to the top antler of the deer. I got about 1 foot away. This is what I experienced. I am quite certain to that point I pretty much stopped wetting my pants. I had to work on that for another 5 or 6 years. You know, that was frustrating. And the hunter jumped out of the car. He's going, oh, man. Oh, I just about scared you to death. Sorry. This guy represented about half of the adults in my hometown. Grown people who just get a kick out of giving a kindergartner a nervous breakdown. It was dangerous back then. You know it's true, don't you? You older guys, it was dangerous. Do you remember, we had packs of roving dogs in my town. Can you children imagine that? They didn't even belong to it. These days, every dog's got a collar with a license, with a leash, with an owner, with a plastic bag walking behind it. But not back then. They didn't even belong to anybody, these dogs, and they ran in V's like this. And there were no little dogs. All the little ones have been eaten by the big ones. And their whole purpose seemed to be to terrorize children. It was so frightening. I remember I was 10 years old. I was out in the driveway. I was shooting baskets out there just by myself. It was just kind of an afternoon. After school, I was just kind of pretending. Oh, it didn't look like that, actually. It was more like this. I was throwing up. Just playing around, because it was pretending, really, because, well, we didn't have a hoop. I heard this, roar! I turn around, pack of dogs coming right in my driveway, right after me. And I screamed, and I ran to the screen door and slammed it, but a little bit too late, because one of the dogs had his paw. It was the one-eyed dog. And the others were all against the screen, scrabbling like this, and I was about 1.5 feet away. I couldn't go any further because of the bookcase, and I was screaming, and my dad said, what's the racket down there? I said, oh, Dad, these mean dogs. He says, you have no idea what mean dogs are. When I was a kid, every dog had rabies. I was a sophomore in high school, riding my bike to the swimming pool one afternoon in the summertime. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You older folks, I remember it was 1 because I'd waited 1 hour so I would not die. Pedaling my bike up this hill, just minding my own business. I hear this behind me. I turn around, pack of dogs coming right after me. It was like the offspring of those before coming to get me. The idea was to race to the top of the hill and turn and shoot down the backside with my legs up and the dogs nipping at my heels, just praying there wouldn't be anybody at the intersection. And kids got hurt. I'm serious. You get to the pool there, they had a little triage set up. Everybody always went over every day to see who had been brought in, you know. Whoa, what happened to you? Oh, I fell off my bike. Well, yeah, but how did you get those such perfect waffle iron kind of tennis rackets cuts in your forehead? Oh, well, when I went over the handlebars, I got my face stuck in the basket. Yeah, but how'd you get those kind of purple puncture marks all along the edge? Well, then I hit the ground and I couldn't get up. The dogs got me. Yeah, but what about that gray scar? Oh, that doesn't even hurt. I got that when I was like 4. My dad slammed on the brakes. I flew out of the back window. Hit the baby steering wheel. Right there. Yeah, I make my dad out to sound like kind of a harsh guy. I want you to know that he is not. My dad is a gentleman. And if he were here tonight, I'm not telling these stories behind his back because he knows them all. And if he were here tonight, he would be sitting right out there with you guys and he would find them mildly amusing. I mean, the point is, what I'm trying to say is, my dad knows I'm just using him to make money. Really, that's what I'm doing. Honestly, I have hardly ever seen my dad angry. And I bet there aren't very many of you who can say that. Hardly ever. Really only once that I can. One time he was a little ticked. I had a slinky. How many of you had slinkies, by the way? Oh, come on. Let's take the time, a little energy. How many of you had slinkies in this group? Okay, there we are. That's 100%. That's amazing. That has to be one of the greatest marketing feats in all of history. Some marketing genius, think about this, convinced 300 million of us people that we all had to have our own personal spring. And it didn't even do anything. No, it did not go downstairs. No, it did not. No, it did not. No. No, yours didn't either. No, it didn't. It went down 2 steps and threw itself down the rest. You know that's true. Went downstairs. I had a giant slinky. That one was like close to $2, and I had been playing with it in the backyard, and apparently I left it lying in the deep grass. Where the next day my dad hit it with the power mower, and that did upset him. Although it may not have been so much anger as it was just fear. That is a terrifying thing to see that ever-lengthening strand of wire rotating at 2,200 RPM on the mower. Pretty much mowed the whole backyard in about 3.5 seconds that day, as I recall. Looked like a big putting green out there when I got done. I got a call a few years back from my mom, and she said, your dad's had a terrible accident. My dad, not a young man now, okay? My dad had climbed up in an apple tree, 18.5 feet. And he was picking apples and throwing them to my teenage cousin on the ground. And my teenage cousin was catching the apples and putting them in an apple basket. And my dad figured out if he could pick the apples and throw them faster, then my cousin could catch them and put them, then he could repeatedly hit my cousin. which he was really enjoying. And they got laughing. And, well, my dad was laughing. My cousin was crying a bit at that point, eventually. But my dad grabbed a rotten limb and it snapped off, and he went backwards off the branch, 18 and a half feet, hit the ground, shattered his pelvis. They had him in surgery all afternoon. My mom was finally able to get a hold of me, and I said, can I talk to him? And she said, yeah, I think so. I want to tell you something. I love my parents. I have always loved my parents. And not a day in my life have I questioned whether my mom and dad love me. I always knew my folks loved me. And I don't take that for granted, because that wouldn't be true for everybody here. I always knew how much my dad and my mom loved me. However, having said that, I would also tell you this. My dad and I didn't say those 3 words, I love you. Hardly ever. And I've wondered why that is, because I always did with my kids, and they with their kids, and now I with their kids. And now my dad and I, we talk 2-3 times a week. We never end a conversation without saying, I love you, Dad, love you, son, or vice versa. But we didn't in those years when I was growing up. I said to my mom, can I talk to him? She said, yeah, I think so. And then I heard 2 syllables, hi, Bob. And I could hear the pain in my dad's voice. I had never in my life heard pain in my dad's voice before. I said, Dad, I'm so sorry. He said, well, thanks. I said, I heard you were up pretty high. He said, you have no idea how high it was. I was waiting for him to tell me about how his skin was heating up as he came through the atmosphere back down to earth. I said, Dad, I wish there was something I could say to make you feel better. He said, well, thanks. And then I realized, hey, people, life is short, isn't it? And I said those 3 words so long overdue. I said, Dad, walk it off. Come on. Come on. And I got him laughing pretty good, by the way. Apparently, it really hurts to laugh with a crotch full of screws. I do it. Hey, thank you you are such a wonderful audience. You having a good time? I hope so. I sure am. I sure am. And hey, it is a delight for me to, I made fun a little bit about the 4 pictures of Ken, you know, and this whole thing was called Ken Davis, and the 4 pictures of him, and I made kind of fun about that, you know, that bothered me, you know, and if you remember, I said, you know, why couldn't I just had one, you know, and people thought I was serious, but I wasn't. Ooh. Okay. Hey. Some coffee? Thanks. Oh, thank you. So, I get this call from Ken Davis, and he says, let's... For me, it's just such from my heart, it's such a joy to be on the stage with a slightly older, not a lot, well, quite a bit older, comedian who I've looked up to for years, a comedian whose career I know I'm about to take over. And that's from my heart. Would you welcome back to this stage, Mr. Ken Davis?
We need to build a home for that man. There is something seriously wrong with him. Thank you for welcoming him in such a wonderful way. I'm going to just jump right into this. A couple of you have been looking at me. There's some things that have happened since I was here last time, And one of them is that I am slowly getting older, and as a result of that, I'm going to tell you right now, because I see a lot of you out there in the same situation as me, I give up on the weight thing. For so many years, I have tried and tried and tried. I give up. I have gone from determination to resignation. I go into hotels now and I say, if you don't got chocolate chip cookies, I ain't staying here. Marriott hotels, you know they got a big thing of chocolate chip cookies? Have you seen it? And you can turn it and a little door opens and you can reach in there and get those. I have discovered that if you take the whole thing after you're checked in, if you take it, they will not stop you. And I'm still fast enough so that I can eat the whole thing before they send a bellman to come and bring it back. I don't care. I don't care anymore. You say, well, you don't look so bad. How are you hiding it? Well, it's there. Well, I thought it kicked. You know how I hide it? I can hold my breath longer than Michael Phelps. How I can hide it? I'll never be in the Olympics, that's for sure. Floor exercise.
Mr. Ken Davis.
Little girl stopped at our table one day. She said, Mr. Davis, how do you do that with your belly? How do you do that? My wife was there. She's without mercy. She said, he relaxes, honey. Buy a tape or get away from the table. How many of you have those little signs that you're getting old? Here's the first sign that I knew I was getting old. We drove to church. It's only a 20-minute drive. Open the door. Next 20 minutes is spent trying to figure out how you can get out of the stupid car. And then when you get out, that's it. You notice how television has changed now? All of the marketing is aimed at us. You notice that? All of the marketing is aimed at this age, our age group. They used to market to teenagers, but they realized they were fickle. They change their minds every second. So now they market to us. They know we got hurts and pains. My dad, bless his heart, used to push himself away from the table and do this. Dang, that was good. I enjoyed it both times. I see a bunch of women going, you pig. Got me a little heartburn there. We never gave it a second thought. Dad had a little heartburn. Now they're trying to scare us to death. They no longer call it heartburn, do they? They call it acid reflux. Those are the two nastiest words on the face of the earth. Acid reflux. I don't even like to say those words. It sounds like a cuss word. Acid reflux. And if you don't take care of the acid reflux, it will eat away at the lining of your... You're listening to this stupid stuff. Look at these beautiful young children here. Let me tell you something, children. There is nothing like scares the old people like us more than laying in bed at night knowing that something is nibbling at our esophagus. Scares us to death. Tell me you haven't laid there going, did you hear that? You hear that chewing sound? So they have products they want to sell us. No burpium. Unbelch. Stuff like that. No. I just thought of that. Wish I hadn't. No burpium. And have you seen the ads on TV where the land is split apart and then you take the purple pill and the pieces of land come back together and then you're safe anymore? Have you seen that? Have you seen that? The problem is the ad is shorter than the disclaimer. The ad says, take no burpium, the pieces of land will come back together, the rips in your cigar and your Pterosaurus Rex will heal. And then you will be okay. And then they go into this. It's so fast you can't understand what they're saying. You only catch a word here and there. Now, some people, if when they say no burping, I'm sweating. A heart attack. Diarrhea. Tell me you haven't heard that. I slowed that tape down so that I could understand what they're saying. This is what it said. Some people who have... And that sounds like that because I slowed it down too far. Some people who take no burpium will experience profuse sweating. About 57% of the people who take no burpium will experience heart palpitations, and 2% of those may have a serious heart attack. 83% of the people who take no burpium will experience unexpected explosive diarrhea. I'm sticking with the heartburn. My grandkids are growing up with me going, that's the way I want them to remember me. You know where laughter comes from? Laughter comes from admitting that we just haven't got things all together. We're not okay. People who can't laugh are usually people who have a very difficult time admitting that they have a few problems. Any perfect people in here? See, now if a hand went up, I'd know, because that's the person that was going. Talking about no burpium and that other alamy. I don't know what an alamy is. I just say words. You know, I just got to pause here. I got to tell you something, folks. It's the weirdest thing. Words come out I don't even mean. My wife and I can't even communicate anymore. I don't know if you face this. Sometimes we have little fights over stuff that make no sense. Pulled up to an intersection. We were talking about some troubles, not troubles, but just some conflicts in the family. And we pulled up to an intersection. I looked across the intersection. There's my favorite place. And so I verbalized it. Dunkin' Donut. She said, what? I said, Dunkin' Donut. She said, what? I said, what? now we're fighting after 3 words. What about Dunkin' Donut don't you understand? She said, don't condone what? Oh, you guys have such a wonderful life coming. I'm sitting home, she'd gone shopping. I'd ask her to bring home a movie. She'd gone shopping. I'd ask her to bring home a movie. I said, she came in the door. I was surfing through the television. I said, did you bring Born Ultimatum? She said, what? I said, did you bring Born Ultimatum? And she said, Ken, what is a porno tomato? How do you describe it? This is true stuff. We get into this stuff all the time. So when my lips go wrong, you just got to understand. People who think they're perfect, they get offended by every little thing. And that's why I love this place. This place is so great. I got this here. You eat here, you can have one too. If you have children, you're not perfect. Your children know it. If you try to pretend you're perfect in front of your children, they will call you out. We as parents say things that make no sense whatsoever. Hey, you cut your legs off in that lawnmower. Don't you come running to me. Am I wrong? You say things like that? Look at me when I'm talking to you. Don't you look at me like that. Come here. Any one of the girls, come here, or the boy, come here. Come here, son. Give this young man a big hand. Come here. Come on up here. What is your name?
Tim.
Tim. That is great, Tim. Watch this. My father one day did this to me. Now, you just stand there, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. He said, what's wrong with you? Look at me, Tim. What's wrong with you? Now, when I do that, how does it feel?
Funny.
Did you say fun? Oh, funny. It feels wrong, doesn't it? I'm in your space right here. What's wrong with you? Parents, listen to me. Lesson here today. It's worth the entire price of you being here to learn this. Don't do this to your children. The Bible says, do not provoke your children to wrath. In the original Greek, that says, don't do this with your finger. My father was right in my face, Tim, and I said to him, I didn't say anything to him because of... Yeah, you know. Well, Dad... Okay. In my mind, I said, I am never going to do this with my own children. I will never do this. I had 2 girls. When they turned to be teenagers, I lost complete control of that thing. I not only lost complete control, I started losing any sense of common sense communication. I found myself with my daughters going, do you think I'm stupid? What's he gonna say? You're not Socrates. My dad used to go, "What's wrong with you?" And I wanted so bad to go, "Your finger." But I wanted to live. Tim, thank you for helping me. Give Tim a big hand. Tim. Mark my words, son, that someday you're going to do that. You're going to have children, and you're going to have your finger in their face. I've had it. How many of you have done that? I've had it. Some of this makes no sense. I'm sick of it. I've had it with you. I'm so sick. And why is this the universal spot? You never see parents go, "I'm so sick of it." You mess with me, we could get up to here. I wrote a book called How to Live with Your Parents Without Losing Your Mind. I wrote another book, How to Live with Your Kids When Your Mind is Already Gone. In researching that book, I called my grandfather. I said, "Grandpa, did your parents ever do I've had it with you up?" And he just lost it. Over the phone, he's laughing. He's just thinking. Grandpa's laugh was half, and the rest was. He said, "My grandfather did it." And I started thinking, how far back does this go? Some cave guy grab his son by the hair. Yeah, boys, you boingy, boingy, boingy. That's why when they find the skeletons, they're all swollen right there. That isn't evolution. Those boys carried clubs. I was in France. I'm doing a big seminar, 4,000 parents. I have a French interpreter, which does an amazing thing to comedy, by the way. The French are the most humorous people in the world anyway. So I got this French interpreter. See what happens? It destroys the timing. You say a little bit, he says that in French. You say a little bit. So I'm trying to tell these parents all of this. I said, "How many of you?" And then I paused. And this little man over here with this little beret and everything, he goes, "Je toi, comment je dis le blend, te quand on take trek bon on ne rim tan schnet. Want and on let in the most one le Have ever said to your children, and I paused, and the guy goes, "Monsieur, nella bonchenetic moment, one point on that children." I've had it with you clear up to here. That's the punchline. There's nothing. I hear nothing. I look over there, and that little man was doubled up, laughing, stuff shooting out his nose. Because he had said it to his own son 2 minutes before he got on stage. He finally recovered. And it goes, "I'm boing, I'm boing, say, no boing, boingy, 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 boingy." Hey guys, how much time do I have left? Guys, all night. Guys, how much time do I have left? Do I have a... Huh? What are you doing?
You're done.
Okay,
you're done.
We're going to do intermission.
Wait,
we
Ken.
have a...
Hey, whoa, Ken. Before we do that, I thought maybe you would like to sit down and have a little drink with me here. Here we go. Come on. Here, sit down.
Oh, this will be
Little
nice.
drink.
May I say
Let me
something
move
to
this.
you? May I? Hurry, my leg is getting really shaky. Yeah, that's
Wait. You are moving our reality behind you. I just noticed this. Hey, look. Here, give me this glass. Put your arm against the curtain there. With those cuffs on, your wrists disappear. Your hands are floating. I can't believe it.
Oh, did you enjoy the Olympics?
Very much. I am enjoying the Olympics, yes. Very much. Swimmers, especially Michael Phelps. Is he doing great? Wow. 46 gold medals. That's amazing.
46, that's unbelievable.
This week.
Yeah, that's exact. I love the French at the Olympics. That kills me too. You know, the French came to the Olympics going, "We have come for only one purpose. Our purpose is to catch the Americans and crush them. We will swim into the pool, grab a hold of them, take them out, and crush them." Which in French means, you win. There may be some French people here. If you're here and you're French, God bless you. But I'm going to tell you, these people sometimes have bad attitudes. We went to France. My wife left weeping. They just have kind of an aggressive... I asked my dad about, hey, like for instance, this kills me. I lived in Colorado. What are the mountains in Colorado?
Be the Rockies.
The Rockies. You go up to, like where, what is that one up in Wyoming?
The Grand Tetons.
Rockies. Doesn't that just ring with you? Rockies. I live in Nashville. We do this. We have the Smokies. Even that. In China. Isn't it China or India
yes,
there?
Himalayas.
The Himalayas. It rings with adventure. What do the French have? Alps. Alps. I asked my dad, you know what he said? Bless his heart. He said, that came from the Second World War. They were in the mountains going, Alp. Please, somebody, Alp.
Did you used to swim? I'm just interested because they talk about Michael Phelps having the ideal swimmer's body, the perfect swimmer's body. Actually, I was just wondering if you were just interested. You know.
I have the perfect floater's body. I wish they had a 50-meter float. The Romanian and Russian have been washed out of the pool. You know, those guys like Michael Phelps, they can't float. They would lose.
No, it's all muscle.
Right to the
I
bottom.
wonder about their suits, those magic swimming suits that they.
Oh, that'd be magic on me. If I got a hole in that, it'd be like a mushroom. I don't want to. I can't.
Well,
I'd love to have you see me in one of those.
Well, I could imagine that, but I don't wish to take my spirit to that dark place.
Now, can we do intermission?
Well, no, we can't right now because Ken. Hey, I just wanted to just very briefly. Can you do something for me? Here. I'm sorry. I'm running circles around here. Here we go, Ken.
Did you need that?
Yeah, bring that out here. That'd be good.
There you go.
A little special time here. I wanted to.
Right.
Come here for a second. It's a little tribute to you. You just hold on to this for a sec, please. Come right over here. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, Ken, what a joy it is for me to be with you here tonight. And I wanted to say that watching you work out here, it's like watching a fighter pilot, you know, flying one of those amazing machines.
Thank you, man.
Would you read number 1 on there? Read number 1. Yeah. It's like a fighter pilot.
Yes, I sure know what you mean.
And you know, of course, Ken, a fighter pilot has a simulator that he can learn how to fly with. Number two now. Read number two.
Yeah, but there's nothing like that for a young comic.
Oh, but Ken, now there is.
We need to do intermission.
Number three.
What? But how can this be true?
Because now, Ken, now there's the comedy coat. Go ahead.
But is it easy to use?
Oh, it's so easy, Ken. You just slip it on and let the laughs begin. Go ahead.
Pay attention, Jesus. Boy, Bob, I sure'd love to take one of those babies up for a test flight.
Well, let's do that right now then, Ken. Just put your microphone right on there. Go ahead, pop it right on there. That's right. And face toward your audience. And kind of put your hands down to your side, if you would. Down to your side. Put your hands. Focus. Listen to what I'm saying to you. And we'll just slip this on. And ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Mr. Ken Davis and the amazing comedy coat.
Oh, no. You know, my shirt's about as tucked in as I need it to be. That's good on the tucking. Yeah. Actually...
Take my glasses.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
You got it in my eye.
Read the card, Ken. Read the card.
Read the card. I can't even open my stupid eye. So bad. I've been so excited.
No. Hello, Ken.
Hello, ugly thing.
You are doing a wonderful job here tonight.
Thank you.
Ken, you know this fellow Bob Stromberg you are working with.
Yes. I'm so sad I do.
He is a very funny man, don't you think?
Oh, yes. Yeah, he's hilarious.
Ken, I have a question for you then.
Yes.
Why do you not pay him more?
Well, it's my picture on the poster. And he's just here for exposure.
Oh, exposure. Yes, good. People die from exposure, Ken. People get arrested for exposure. Ken, you know that Bob Stromberg has some products out there on the table.
Yes, he does.
Talk a little bit about them.
They're free.
Thank you. I would like to show you this prop, which I carry with me everywhere I go. I've had this for many, many years. Lots of fun things you can do with a simple prop like this. I'll show you just a couple. Watch. Or yeah, you people are laughing. These people on the sides you can see are going, I don't get it. All I'm doing is bending my knees and going down, and most of you folks will find when you bend your knees, you stay down. Yeah, you go down, you have to. That's called gravity, but it's not as effective as an illusion. If you don't keep your back straight, if you bend your knees, you still go down, but you have to keep your back nice and straight. I'll show you what I mean by that. Watch this. Maybe you won't even notice the difference. I mean, come on, people, you tell me. What is this? So you have to keep your back nice and straight. I'll show you how I do this. I take a step behind to do it in front so you can see. I take a step behind, I bend my knee, keep my back straight. It's easy. Another step. It's straight, it's straight, it's straight. I'm on my knee now, my back is still straight, but now I can bend my back. Why is it okay? Can't see it, right? So I can go down like this, and you people think that my head is connected. Well, it is. It's connected. You also want to make sure you get behind whatever you're using, folks. Behind the counter. You kids, this advice is for you, okay? I already know how to do this. I'm trying to save you the embarrassment, okay? Don't go home later on and go, hey, Mom, Dad, check it out. Check it out. Because your folks will laugh at you maybe for years, okay? So get behind there. Also, you want to make sure that each step that you take as you go down is about the size of the steps that you took and about the size of the next steps that you're going to take. So all your steps are the same size as you come up or as you go back down. You may not think this is important. I just don't think it's nearly as effective when that second step is not the same size. My family and I, we went on this vacation and we went to this McDonald's in Southern Illinois. And that was not the goal of our vacation. We're passing through there. Oh, the kids wanted to stay, but we said no. You know, McDonald's are all the same. There's like a serving area back here, eating area out there, and in between a divider might be a little railing, or it might be a place to pick up salt and pepper, a little piece of frosted glass and some plants. This particular McDonald's was very unique because the divider was an aquarium that sat on the top of a box with dimensions about like my curtain. The aquarium went into the ceiling, 8-9 feet long, 2-3 feet thick, and from the serving area back here, you kind of found yourself drawn to looking through the glass, through the aquarium, past those plants and little bubbling divers and the fish, to the squiggly shapes of people eating their burgers on the other side. This is one of the few times I've actually ever gone into a public place, uninvited, unpaid certainly, and largely unappreciated. I'll show you what I did. Watch.
fun. You gotta put on some deodorant. This is a lot of fun, isn't it? This is less fun all the time. If we could turn on the mic back here. We really don't want to do this for another half hour. This is fun.
There we go. There we are.
We got
Yes.
it back. That is great. That is great. You know, hey, can I do something first?
Yeah.
Where is this young man? Come on up here again. I want to give you this. You know what? You were such a good sport. You came up here and you didn't get all flaky on me. You're just you're a good boy, and I hope you enjoy those and share them with your friends. Will you do that for me? All right. Tell me your name again. Tim. Very good, Tim. You enjoy those, okay? Is your mom here, Tim? Is your mom here? Where's your mom? Oh, that's sweet. If you'd stop back there and pay for that, I'd appreciate it. Oh, what fun. You know, I was thinking, we don't tell many jokes. We don't.
No.
We tell stories.
Yeah. You are a joke teller, though. I mean, you're good at. You have a sense about jokes. I don't tell. I'm not good at it.
I've never heard you tell one.
I don't think in jokes. I can't remember jokes, which I understand, can be a liability for a comic. But,
no, I mean, you tell stories. That's the deal.
Yeah.
But you don't do jokes.
No, it's particularly frustrating when you get on airplanes and somebody says to you, "Oh, well, what do you do?" And then you say,
this.
"Well, I'm a comic," and of course the response immediately is,
"Tell me a joke.
Tell me a joke." That's right. I was on this flight from Des Moines, and this doctor gets on. He introduces himself as Dr. So-and-so, and he's going to Mayo Clinic, and he has a bunch of patents, and he invented no burpium, and he's going on and on about this stuff. And he said, "And what do you do?" He says, "What do you do?" And I made the mistake of saying, I'm a comic, and immediately, of course, "Oh, you're a comic? Well, tell me a joke." And I said, "Oh, you're a doctor. Check out this rash. It's got a rash that goes all the way down here, like that, and through this area."
That takes me to a dark place.
That's
I don't.
So I do not. I just don't. I don't do it. I found a solution for airplanes. What my solution is, when anybody on the airplane next to me asks me what I do, I just thank them and I tell them that I am the director of evangelism for the Church of Scientology, and that usually buys me 2-3 hours of quiet time. Usually they won't even look at me in luggage anymore.
I tell them I'm a practicing cannibal.
But I was, people are persistent. I was on this Disney cruise, and I had to do, it was a 4-day cruise. I was on the Disney wonderful cruise ship. And I had to do 2 performances, first night with adults, and the third night with children. And the adult show, which is, when I say it's the adult show, I mean, it's because there were adults there. That's what I mean by adult show. I don't want you to go, "He does an adult show."
It wasn't the rash show.
Rated R for rash. That's right. But I did the show for the parents, and it went great. And I was feeling really good about it. So Wednesday night, I was getting ready to go on for the children. 1,500 kids in this beautiful theater on the ship. And I feel this tap on my shoulder. It's the cruise director, who really is the boss of all the entertainment. And she said, "Hey, your show went great the other night." And I said, "Well, thanks so much. I felt good about it. Notice you didn't tell any jokes, though." And I said, "Well, I'm really not a joke guy." "Well, it's fine, but I just wondered with the kids if you could tell 1 or 2. I said, I'm not a joke guy. Well, it's just that kids identify comedy with jokes, and they know they're getting a comedian. It'll be less confusing for them. I said, honestly, I don't even know. I only know one joke. Well, is it political or sexual in nature? And I said, well, no. Well, then tell that one. I said, I don't think it'd be appropriate. She said, it's what Walt would have wanted. So I walk out in front of 1,500 children, 4 to 10, and I tell this story. Children, perhaps you've heard the story of the older woman who lost her husband. Well, actually, she didn't lose him. He died. And she went down to the funeral parlor to before the viewing to it was his body, really. It was like a preview, like a preview of like a movie, you know, where you see a little bit and that makes you want to see the whole, although he was all there. Anyway, the funeral director came up to her and said, ma'am, is there anything that I can do for you at this sad time? She said, well, there is one thing. As you can see, my husband is being buried in this gray suit, and I know that my husband always wanted to be buried in the black suit, but if his black suit is threadbare because that was his favorite, which is the reason I didn't bring it to you, but now at the end I'm feeling badly because he's in his gray suit. I wonder if you would be able to run over to the men's store and pick him up a black suit, and I'll pay you whatever it costs him for your time. And he said, ma'am, consider it done. Well, the funeral, children, it went very, very well, considering the sadness of the event. But a couple months later, she realized she had never gotten a bill from the funeral director. So she called him up. She said, please tell me, sir, what do I owe you for the suit and your time? And he said, ma'am, you don't owe me a thing. As luck would have it, that very day when you came in to view your husband, after you left, another woman came in to view hers, and he was being buried in a nice black suit. And she said to me, I know I'm feeling badly because I know my husband always wanted to be buried in a gray suit. So I just switched the heads. A lot of crying, and I had to bring in the counselors. But you see, Ken, I think you'll understand.
Get some water.
I know. I know you'll understand this. It's people think, oh, I can tell a joke. No, you probably can't. It is difficult to tell jokes, and because it's timing. Every little word. You mess up one little word, and the whole thing is destroyed. I learned this. One of the reasons I'm not a joke teller, because this happened to me so early in my career. I was in 5th grade, and I had been Sunday I'd been to church, and after church at coffee hour, this older gentleman who always told the jokes told a really funny new joke, and my dad and I laughed. The whole place laughed at coffee hour. So I came in Monday morning and I said to Mrs. Sayers, I said, Mrs. Sayers, would you mind if we began the week with a moment of levity? And since I used that vocabulary word from the week before, she said, well, yes, if it's short. So after the Pledge of Allegiance, she said, Bobby Stromberg is going to tell us a joke to begin our week. And I stood up and I told this joke. There was this little Mexican boy named Fernando. Yeah, it was Fernando. And when he was a very little boy, Fernando found a dusty postcard in the street outside of his house. And he looked at it, and on the postcard, there's a picture of New York City. And he said to himself, that's New York City. One day, this means I, Fernando, am going to go to New York City. And he told his friends, one day, I, Fernando, will go to New York City. You will see. And they said, it's true, Fernando. It's true, Fernando. One day you will go to New York City. But he was a very poor boy, and so he never had any money. He couldn't go. And all his life he kept going, one day I, Fernando, will go. And they said, it's true. One day, Fernando. One day. But he became an old man, and he realized he would never be able to go. But the whole town went together, took up an offering, and they bought him a plane ticket to New York City, and he went there, and it was wonderful. And when he came home, they said, Fernando, how was New York City? And he said, oh, it was so wonderful. And they said, Fernando, how did you find the people there? And he said, oh, they were so great. They were so caring. In fact, yesterday I was at the Yankees game, and I had a very bad seat way out in the outfield by the flagpole. And before the game, they all stood up and they sang, no, his name was Jose. I'm sorry, it was Jesus, one word. One little word. Shipshewana. One word.
Well, I actually, people send me jokes all the time. Or someone will catch me in the hall and go, you can use it. I got to tell you, this is the funniest thing that happens to us, right? A guy came up to me one time and went, you can use it if you want. You can use it. I'll give it to you. I was in my house. Oh, he said, I'm so sorry. I was in my house and I looked out the window and there was a squirrel. He was running across the road. And they had been digging, I've told you, they had been digging a big hole there. And the squirrel went in that hole. You can use that if you want. Did he come out? No, he didn't. We waited. Oh, yeah, we just laughed.
Well, you used it.
Joke. Let me see. Okay, I've heard this joke somewhere, and I made it my own, and finally found a day when I could use it. We were in what's that place that burned down, Bob?
You know, there are so many.
No,
through the ages, there have been so many. I would say if you're looking for a general place, it would be California, probably.
No. Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of years ago, it burned down, and they built it back up again. But we were in Yellowstone National Park, and I saw a guy that didn't have a sense of humor. Those are people who take themselves too seriously. And this guy was a park ranger. And I'm telling you, I'm not lying to you, he had his pants pulled up. About like, I have to hurry because this hurts.
Quick.
Yeah.
Quick. I'll just turn this way.
He had that little hat, that little ranger hat. And he said, he said, I'm what stands between you and life and death. I'm serious. I'm doing the guy. He said, we got you two kind of bears in this park. He said, we got you grizzly bear. We got you black bear. He said, now the black bear won't hurt you. They're scared of you, they run away. But the grizzly bear eats you live. Charge you. I'm what stands between you and the grizzly bear. I turned to my wife at that moment and I said, we're watching Barney Fife. He said, over here on this table, we got some little bells. We'd like you to buy those bells and tie them around your ankles or around your wrist. And then he says, as you walk through the woods tinkling, it'll scare the grizzly bear away. Well, I'm freaking out. I've hunted grizzly bears. I've watched a grizzly bear eat a moose for breakfast. I cannot picture a grizzly bear eating his moose, and he hears you tinkling in the woods.
I'm thinking the jingling might have been a better choice of terms. Because I'd run if I heard you tinkling in the woods, I'll tell you that. I'd be out of there.
He said, now sometimes the bells don't work, which was encouraging. So he said, we've also got some pepper spray over here. He said, you buy some pepper spray, and if the bells don't work when the bear charges you, you wait till he gets about 10 feet away, and you spray him right in the face. And I turned to Diane and said, why? So he'll sneeze when he eats you. So we're leaving the park. Little old lady's trying to get in her car. Thank you so much. Little old lady's trying, she can't get into her car. And she says, I'm leaving the park. I said, why are you leaving? She said, well, I'm scared of the bears. And she said, I'm scared because I don't know the difference between a grizzly bear and a black bear. And I thought, this is the perfect place. If somebody opens the door, you need to walk through it. I said, ma'am, I do know the difference. I said, you can tell by the drop-ins. A black bear has a relatively small pile of drop-ins. Got berries in it. A grizzly bear got a big old pile of drop-ins. Got bells in it. Smells like pepper.
It makes your eyes sting.
It makes your eyes sting. This one requires a special entrance. This is just a joke that I heard that I love telling the people. A 90-year-old man woke up in the delivery room of a hospital.
Recovery room.
And boy, was he surprised.
Yeah, just
One word.
Oh, boy.
A 90-year-old man woke up in the recovery room of the hospital.
His name was Fernando, by the way.
Martha, he said, where am I? What happened? Martha was sitting there beside him. She said, Fernando, you're in the recovery room of the hospital. They brought you over here from the delivery room.
Good shave.
We were sitting in church and you had a heart attack, and then a big truck came in there. I rode in the truck with you to the recovery room of the hospital, and you had a heart attack. He said, but you're here. She said, I'm right here, Fernando. I'm right here. Martha, he said, you remember on our first date when we were... I tried to race that train to the tracks. I didn't make it, and the train hit us, and it threw you from the car, and you weren't even injured, but it dragged the car 600 yards down the track, and I was in a coma for 3 months, and when I woke up, you were there. Yes, I remember that. I told you not to race that train to the track. I kept telling you, don't race the train, don't race the train. So I jumped out. And you were every day I was there, and then when you woke up,
I was right there. He said, Martha, do you remember when we celebrated our 10th anniversary and the dog jumped up on the table, tipped over the cake, and the candles caught the tablecloth on fire and the house burned down? And I got burns over 90% of my body. I had to have those terrible skin grafts. You remember that? She said, yes, I remember that. I was there. I held your hand. That was very painful, but I held your hand while you were there. He said, and now I've had a heart attack. And you're here. She said, yes, I'm here, Henry. He reached over and grabbed her hand and squeezed it. Tear rolled down his cheek. He said, Martha, you're bad luck. You can use that if you want.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Oh, Ken.
You got another joke?
Yeah, no, you have another joke.
You know what I just did? I picked this. I got this.
Oh, gee. Oh, boy. Oh,
I have wet myself.
I can't let you take that all by yourself. I may as well get out of the act here. So.
Oh, you better not go to sleep tonight. Actually, it feels kind of good. It's been getting hot.
It's a very interesting design there, you know. It's a lovely shape.
This is French. This is French.
Yes, look. Look against the backdrop, how it blends in there so beautiful there. Yeah, that's nice. I would like to sign it down there.
Oh, we have had so much fun.
You have another.
I tell another joke you want me to tell?
What's that?
Which one?
The one about the...
Oh, you want me to tell it?
Oh, please
Okay,
do.
okay.
That's such a great...
A man break... I cannot tell you how stupid I feel. This is stuff you dream about.
Well, you don't have to tell us. We have a pretty good idea.
Man broke into a house. It was his first robbery. He was terrified that he might get caught. He shut the window behind him, crawled into the darkened house, and he heard a voice. I see you! And Jesus sees you. Scared him to death. He thought, I must have imagined that. How could a person shout out like that in a dark house? Took another couple of steps and he heard it again. I see you! And Jesus sees you too. Reached into his bag and he got a flashlight. He was trembling. He pointed it in the direction of the voice and he turned it on. And there in a cage was a big parrot. And when the light hit the parrot said, I see you! And,
Wait, he didn't actually...
I see you! One word.
That's right. One body part. That's all it was.
And Jesus sees you too. The guy thought, I got to kill this parrot. So he reached in his bag, grabbed something to kill the parrot with, and he started moving forward, and the light went down. And when the light went down, underneath the cage was sitting a huge Rottweiler dog. Big Rottweiler dog. Lips all curled back in a snarl. When that light hit the Rottweiler, the parrot said, sick 'em, Jesus.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
Before we go, could you help me with just one other thing, and I promise you this won't be nearly as embarrassing as what you've already done to yourself. Could you do it? Just honestly, just a simple thing.
Is it like the coat?
No, not at all. No. Okay, if you can get rid of your water, that'd be good. In fact, I don't know where we went.
already did.
Can I use that?
Just a second. What is your name again?
Doug Moore.
Doug Moore. Thank you for being here tonight.
Jeff said that.
Jeff said it.
Jeff
yeah.
said it.
Jeff. I got his name. Well.
I'm from Ohio.
Attaboy. Okay, you probably can get rid of the mic there.
Get rid of the mic?
Yeah, and if you can roll up your left sleeve, could you pull that up? Is that possible to?
It's all ready.
Okay, just pull it up there and then take off your watch. We're sort of on time schedule here. And I'm going to put my arms like this, and at one point I'm going to say, "Okay, Ken." And when I do that, I'd like you to give me your left hand. I want you to put your left hand just like this, okay? And then when it's there, then I'm going to have you do several things 4 times, right here. Several things 4 times. You're going to have to go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Okay, then hold that finger up all by itself. And then you can lift the finger off, and I want you to put the end of your finger right between these 2 knuckles. Do you see them? Go 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, then it goes back where it was. Then I want you to imagine you have a BB between your finger and your thumb. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay? Then the last thing, I want you to hold your finger out horizontally 1/2 inch away from my thumb. Go ahead. 1/2 inch away, and I will pinch it. And when I pinch it, you can pull it way back like this. Okay, so let's just review it one time. So I'll say, "Okay, Ken." Okay, go. Good. And if it helps to count out loud like that, that's fine. I can see you moving your... The BB. 1/2 inch away. And I'll pinch. And you pull it way back there. Okay, good. Okay, Ken, you can stand right here. And I'm going to bring out this prop. And if we can get the lights ready here, if we can get the lights turned out, that would be great. When I was a child, I slept every night in the room by my father's study, with a light from the hall shone on the wall and gave life to my shadow buddies. A play in 3 acts written by Big Bobby Stromberg. Age 7, entitled The Rabbit and the Hound, Act 1. This would be the rabbit. Hey, Dad, could you open up the door? Just a little bit more, please. Then my father's shadow would loom on the side of the room. Exceeding his normal size. And almost pleading, he'd say, "I don't mind if you play, but no more horsing around with those guys, you hear?" Horsing around. Dad! Come on, Dad! Son, I'm talking to you.
Rabbit in the Hound Act Two. The Tale of Bambi. Hey, Dad, can I have another drink of water, please?
No, son, you don't need more water. You can wait until morning.
Oh, yeah, Dad. That's right. I don't need any water.
I'll leave this a little longer for those of you who are still trying to get it.
The Rabbit and the Hound Act. The final act.
Whoa, son, said go to sleep. No more monkey business. More monkey business. Monkey business indeed. Okay, Ken. Okay, Ken.